Because of my passion for online entrepreneurship and in believing the impact we can make if we can all discover our purpose and do what we love, the Passion and Purpose podcast was born. I hope to share more inspiring adventures with you, along with the people who have been there and done that. Welcome, everyone, to the Passion and Purpose podcast once again. And today I'm very excited to introduce to you a very special guest. Her name is Julie Christiansen. She is a registered psychotherapist, international speaker, and prolific author of books on stress, anger, bullying, and coping with crisis. She's voted top 40 under 40 and ranked 16th among the most influential forensic psychologists working today. And that's why I'm very excited, because I don't know if most of you know, I am a fan of CSI. And also, Julie specializes in topics related to anger, conflict, and stress. She is an award-winning speaker and author of the Anger Solutions Method of Anger Resolution, known as the Anger Lady. She is in demand as a media guest expert, and she's currently working under contract as the inspiration and consultant for a scripted TV crime serial under development. And I hope that she will share more information with us about that later. All right, Julie, hi. It's evening to you right now, so good evening. And how are you today?
It's a wonderful day. I'm great. I'm happy to be here with you, and I'm so excited to be talking with you, even though we're half a world away.
Yes, that's right.
It's so nice that we can connect with technology. So thank you for having me on your program.
Oh, and thank you so much. I feel so honored and I feel excited. I don't know if you can feel my excitement. When I read the word forensic psychologist, I was like, whoa, this is awesome. I feel the luckiest girl in the world today. All right, please, Julie, can you tell us about your business and what you do for a living? I'm sure a lot of listeners will be excited to hear that too.
Sure. So I actually run two businesses. I have a private practice in psychotherapy, and within that practice, we provide psychotherapy services to a variety of people, but we specialize in trauma. So that could be trauma from childhood abuse, domestic violence, motor vehicle accidents, workplace accidents, or occupational stress injuries. So we do provide services to first responders as well. And because we work with a lot of people who've been in accidents, we specialize in chronic pain, which is kind of a unique niche for us. Not everybody looks at chronic pain from a psychological point of view. But I was saying before we started recording that for my own practice, I do quite a bit of forensic work. So, that's everything from the boring stuff like legal medical assessments, those sorts of things, psychological assessments for clients who are going to court, either for their car accident or for immigration, things like that. But I also work with first responders, providing therapy services for them. And I work with offenders who, need to complete their anger management program so that they can satisfy the mandate of the court. And I also work in supporting victims of crime. So it's a really interesting practice. It's different every day. It's never boring, that's for sure. With my other practice, my other business, I am a published author, as you mentioned in the introduction. And so I have my own small publishing firm. I publish my own work and I publish other authors as well. I teach new authors. I coach them on how to get their book writing projects done. I show them how they can become independent authors if that's what they want to do. If they want to do everything from writing the book to putting it through to publication, I coach them and support them in doing that. And then, a certain percentage of those authors every year will choose to publish their work through my publishing house instead of doing it on their own. But I really believe in just allowing people to take their own path. So, I don't offer the coaching and then say, oh, and by the way, you have to publish your book with me if you want to get it done. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you want to do it yourself, I'll equip you to do it yourself, and you can go ahead and do that. But then, if you want the support of someone who has the experience, people can do that as well. So in addition to the publishing, I also travel, and I work, well, I haven't traveled for a year because of COVID.
Yeah.
Prior to COVID, I traveled quite a bit, working at conferences and events and keynote speaking and doing workshops, that sort of thing. Right now, everything is virtual. So I'm still still working as a public speaker, but now all of the events, of course, are via Zoom or some other online vehicle. Yeah, and so, out of the work that I do, the training and the corporate events and working with anger, which we'll probably talk about more. I developed a program called Anger Solutions, which I train other therapists and counselors how to use it. So, aside from all of those things that I have set up in my business, very often I'll get calls to do something kind of unique. So I've developed some relationships with corporations that do executive coaching, for example. And so, I work on contract with them to provide executive coaching services. And I'm actually publishing a book for that executive coaching company, working with them to get that book published. And that's going to come out next month. So we're pretty excited about that.
Wow.
So lots of different projects on the go. I like to be busy.
Wow. Are you still sleeping? I can't think of any question. Sorry, I really have to ask that.
It's a fair question.
You seem to be very energetic, but which one among the four types of businesses that you said, four income streams, which one is taking the most of your time?
Right now, it would be publishing, because we have the leadership book project for Executive Coach Global. That's just in the final stages of production, and I'm taking the lead on that. So this weekend is going to be spent formatting the book and getting it ready to upload to the print houses. And then there's another project that I'm working on for the Ontario Provincial Police. I'm writing the anger solutions, rewriting anger solutions for them so that they can offer it in a virtual format for officers who want to take the course independently. So that project is also coming to completion at the end of this month. So I've got both of those that I'm juggling. And then waiting in the wings is one of the authors from my group last year who took the coaching. And she is just putting the finishing touches on her book. And then we'll be publishing that in the spring.
Wow.
So, yeah, the publishing is very busy right now. But, despite that, I'm still running my coaching programs and still running events because that's the nature of the beast. You got to make hay while the sun shines. That's what they say.
Yes. That's right. But would you say that publishing is your most favorite, or do you have a favorite among the four?
I don't have a favorite. I really don't. I like everything that I'm doing. I'm really passionate about writing. I'm passionate about books. I probably read 5 to 7 books a week. I love books. So, publishing is really no hardship. I don't like editing. I'll just say that. I do not like editing. From now on, that job is going to go to somebody else. Writing content and making it beautiful, designing covers and getting them ready to go out to the public. I love that stuff. So, but I also love public speaking and I love working with clients. I think the variety of my work makes it a joy. It never gets boring. It never gets mundane. And when when I'm like, oh, I'm sick and tired of writing, I can just stop and I can do something else. I don't have to be like, well, this is my only job. So now it becomes a hardship. I can manage my time so that I can balance all the different things and get stuff done.
Yes, I can feel your energy right here from Canada to the Philippines. I can really feel it. And I know that you're happy with what you're doing. I was just wondering, in the business, how do you promote one to each other? Do you have like 4 different websites, 4 different LinkedIn, 4 different Facebook pages? How do you find clients?
Yeah, that's something that I'm working on right now. Because I actually did an interview earlier today on another podcast, And I told the host, I'm like a little bit of butter spread out on too much bread. Like I'm just, when it comes to social media, I'm kind of all over the place. So I do have, I have social media for my practice. So my private practice has its own website, its own social media presence. But then for my business, because my business is so multifaceted, I actually had to split that website. And so Anger Solutions has its own website. And then all of the other aspects of what I do, the publishing, the public speaking, and the coaching are offered on a separate website altogether. And then, of course, Leverage You has its own social media, and I have my personal social media.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot to manage.
Somebody should be managing that. Yeah, great. All right, because here at the Passion and Purpose podcast, I normally ask, "What are you really passionate about?" But you seem to be passionate about everything. You can't, and you just said earlier you can't pick. But let's go to the purpose, because it's passion and purpose. With everything that you're doing, what came first? Is it the passionate, things that you're doing, or is it your purpose? I mean, it's like a question between which come first, the egg or the chicken. And sometimes you really can't tell the difference. So in your situation, which come first, and what do you think is that purpose?
For me, it was purpose. Definitely. Yeah. My purpose has always been, even when I was a child, I decided I was going to do something with psychology when I was 8 years old. I've always known that I was going to do mental health work.
How did you know that? You're 8.
I don't know.
You have, an inspiration, a parent, a teacher.
I think I was just an old soul.
Oh.
Really? I don't know. I just, I remember I was 8 years old. I told my mom I wanted to be a psychiatrist. And she was thrilled because she always wanted me to be a doctor. So, she hauled me off right to a psychiatrist so I could interview him and find out what I needed to do to be a psychiatrist. And then I found out that I had to do 10 years of medical school. And I was like, no.
What happened?
So I found my way, into mental health work and finally got my my psychotherapy license. But yeah, it's always been passion. And, I've always been passionate about helping people, but my purpose is to help people create radical, positive, lasting change. So, if that radical change is achieved through psychotherapy, then that's great. But sometimes that change is achieved through education, right? I was an educator for 7 years. Well, actually more than 7 years, but I finished out my career at George Brown College in Toronto. I worked there 7 years as an educator. And I worked in a program that caters to first generation college attendees. So children of immigrants or children of low income families or racialized families that would not typically have the opportunity or even think about going from school to college or university as an option, and educating them. So I got the privilege of working with high school students in a college setting and being able to speak into those lives and to show them, hey, you can be successful at post-secondary education and you don't have to take a minimum wage job. I am a Black woman, you're a Black man, you're a Black young woman, you're Latina or you're Asian or wherever you come from, you're an immigrant to this country or you're second generation immigrant to this country. You have potential and you can live out your potential. So being able to speak into the lives of those young people and to see them make decisions about what they were going to do with their future, that to me is creating radical, positive, lasting change. I do that through my books, and even, even in coaching aspiring authors and helping them to get their books published. Am I creating change for them? Absolutely. So for me, it always comes back to the purpose. So when people ask me to participate in things, I remember years ago, and I don't know how much time we have, so I'll try
It's okay.
So I remember years ago, someone approached me and asked me if I'd like to sell telephones. And they were like, I see that you're really good with people, and I think you would be terrific in selling telephones. And I'm like, why would I do that? Like, it just didn't even make any sense. Like, why would I want to give up what I'm doing to sell phones and a VoIP network? Like, that doesn't fit my brand at all. Someone else wanted me to buy a $1,500 machine that would somehow magically make people feel better. And I was like, no. Like, no, I'm not going to buy into those kinds of schemes, because I'm very clear about what my purpose is. And if it doesn't fit, I'm just not going to do it.
Yes, yes. You are very blessed, because not everyone knows what they want to do, especially what their purpose in life is. Especially if you're given opportunities that are too big for you to say no, and it would really derail you at times. Mm-hmm. In fact, I found my purpose when I started in the online industry in 2013. But you found your purpose. You found what you want to do when you were 8. So how was this journey from an 8-year-old you to, I don't know how old you are, I don't want to ask, but up to now, how was the journey for somebody who really know what they want to do?
Yeah, well, it's been an interesting journey, because I have two passions, really. I'm passionate about people, but I'm also passionate about books. I love the English language, and I love to write. So when I went to university, I actually took a double major, and I majored in English and psychology. And so I just thought, maybe one day I'll want to be a teacher. Maybe I'll go to teachers college, and it would be good to have a teachable. So I'll take the English courses. And they were only the ones that interested me anyway. Aside from psychology, I didn't want to take anything else except for English courses. And so as my career unfolded, I started out working in mental health. And I did that for years. And I had an opportunity to go out on the road as a public speaker. And so I was hired by a company in the United States called Prior Resources International. I worked for them for 2 years. And I traveled around and did seminars and, sold products and whatever. And after a while, people were saying, well, how come you don't have a book? You're selling all these other people's books, and you don't have any of your own. And I was thinking, yeah, that's true. I said I would have my first book written by the time I was 30. So I went ahead and I published my first book in time for my 30th birthday. And then I thought, you know what, I really need to write anger solutions. And I'd been working on it for a while. So I got to work and I published this one a couple of years later. And then once I started writing,
you can't stop.
And publishing, then I didn't want to stop. So the books just kept coming. And I did have a few years where I was just dry, like I didn't write anything. Probably 4 years that I didn't write anything. And then when I finally got the urge to start writing again, it's just, it's picked up since then. And the other thing too is, when people say, hey, Julie, when are you going to publish something new? Because I have all your books. It's like, oh, that was done. Like I thought maybe I didn't have anything else to say, but now I see that people are actually, they're looking for the next thing. So that's encouraging. But yeah, so with the writing, and then the other thing that happened was that I kind of burned out of mental health. Actually, I burned out spectacularly. And I was just like, on the verge of a mental breakdown. I was just so exhausted from doing that work. And so I decided to quit my job. And in order to, just to make money while I was building my own business, I went to work for a newspaper. Business-to-business newspaper, and I worked for them for 3 years. And it was a great opportunity, and I met lots of wonderful people, some people that I still stay in touch with. But the interesting thing is that when I decided to go to university, I had two choices. I had the choice of the journalism program at Carleton University and the psychology program at Ottawa University. And I basically wanted to start school in January, not September. And so I said, whichever program accepts me and gives me a January start, that's the one that I'll take. So the journalism program accepted me, but they didn't have a January start. So that's why I went to Ottawa U and I did psychology and English instead. But little did I know that I would have an opportunity to work in the newspaper industry anyway. I didn't see that coming, but it was a great opportunity and I took it. And I think that that's probably one of the things that I don't, I have a few regrets, but I don't regret taking opportunities when they came. Even if they weren't necessarily very lucrative opportunities, just working alongside of the advertising team at the newspaper and sitting in on the sales meetings, I learned so much about leadership and how to inspire your team and how many mistakes you can make that make your team work against you. I learned about the principles of design while working for the newspaper. I learned how to write good ad copy, like all of these things that I wouldn't have learned if I hadn't worked with a paper for 3 years. And of course, again, the networking, the connections that I made while I was there. So even though that I knew that wasn't my forever job, I think it was a good learning experience. And when I finally went back to school to do my master's degree so that I could get my psychotherapy license, writing was easy. They'd be like, okay, we need you to write a 15-page essay. And I'm like,
no sweat.
I'm used to writing 250-page books. I can write a 15-page essay. Okay.
That's my next question. How long do you write a book?
It has taken me as long as 10 years to write a book. And that's not writing every day. That's 10 years of being lazy and forgetting about it and second guessing myself and wondering, should I write this? Should I publish it? Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe people won't like it, that sort of thing. But I think the fastest I've ever done is about 24 days.
Oh, I have a book written and it's about 180 pages now. And I started in 2014, middle of 2013, and it still hasn't been published yet. So
there you go. Yeah, it's time to finish that. Yeah, my whole thing is the book that I wrote, I should have had it on the desk with me. It's a follow-up to this one, actually. I wrote it in 30 days. Because I had an event that was coming up and I wanted the book to be ready so that I could have it to sell at that event, right? So I had to really discipline myself. And what I did was I documented the process so that if I ever wanted to do it again, I would just follow the same system, right? And so now the coaching program that I offer, that's part of the deal is the students get a copy of my process. So everything that I did in terms of setting up my backwards planner, my system for making sure that I get, average books are 10 chapters, 12 chapters. So it's like, okay, if one chapter is 10 pages, I'm going to write 10 pages a day. I'm basically going to write a chapter a day, or I'm going to write now. I've changed my system a little bit. I'm looking at how many words in a week can I complete? So can I write 3,000 words a day? If I can write 3,000 words a day over 5 days, that's 15,000 words. And if I'm writing a book that's 50,000 words, then it's going to take me 3 weeks to get that done.
I like the one chapter.
Yeah, one chapter, okay. One chapter. Even if you write one chapter over 2 days, it still gives you enough time to get the book edited, to get your testimonials, to have your advanced readers to read it, to get your cover designed, to do all of those other things. You can plug away at those little things while you're writing and have your book ready to go to publication by about 40 days. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That will be my next goal. That should be my next goal. Thank you so much.
Except for that, if I'm running my class at 1:00 in the afternoon, that means it's like midnight where you are, right? It's late.
It is. It is. By the way, how many hours are you writing that one chapter book? How many hours did you write?
Excuse me. Right now, my process, and I haven't been writing anything of my own because I've been working on these other projects. But I have another book that I want to get started. As soon as I drop these projects, I'm going to start writing again. I would say, like right now, I work Monday to Wednesday seeing clients. So Monday to Wednesday is for my private practice. Thursday and Friday are for me to work on my other business. And so typically, if I'm good with my time, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night,
No day offs?
I will take about an hour and to an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and I'll write. But I don't consider writing work.
Yeah, I can feel you.
That's why, yeah, writing for me is how I release everything that I've been, all of the vicarious trauma that I witness on my job, and all those stories of pain and anguish and, all those things. I can take those and I can turn them into something that's going to help somebody. So for me, writing that's release. That's my way of unwinding. So, if I take a couple of hours on a Sunday afternoon, I can still hang out with my husband. I can still watch a movie. I can still bake. I can still do all of those things. It's just 2 hours. It's not a lot of time. There's still time to do other things, right? So, and then of course, when the weather gets good, I'll be just going outside, so I'll just find a place in a park, or I'll go down to the lake or something and just sit
You'll
there.
go to Niagara Falls.
No.
That I'm jealous.
Niagara Falls is too busy. But usually I'll just, Lake Ontario is about a 5-minute drive from my house. So just drive out to the lake and find a park bench and lay out a blanket, and then I'll just sit there and I'll stare at the water and I'll write for 2 hours, and then I'll go home, and then I'll put that away and I'll get back to work and do something else, But I think the way to be successful as a writer is to make writing a practice. It's not an option for me. I need to write. So, I make that part of my schedule every day, like someone else might go to the gym. For me, writing is something that has to happen every day, even if I'm only writing a couple of lines or just scribbling down ideas so that when I get to Thursday, I'll know where I'm going with the story or whatever. It's something that I do on the regular.
Maybe that is something that we have in common, because I love writing so much. In fact, I love the English language that I decided to apply in a call center before, so that I would get that confidence to talk, especially in different types of people. And with that experience, I feel that it has empowered me in a way, because here in the Philippines they would call it thick face. When you can talk to somebody, little or small, a politician or a lawyer or whoever, but you don't feel like you're shy or something, like you're confident. Yeah. For me, that's what helped my confidence a lot. And because I love writing so much, my first love is writing poems. I don't know, I'm not into writing stories, but I like writing things like leadership, how to build a business. That's what my interests are. And I'm into digital skills training. So most of my writing are also evolving around that, that area. And I can feel that your energy into writing should be duplicated to other writers, or aspiring writers like me, who wanted to publish a book but has never done that because of too many distractions and business here and there. So what can you advise to people like me who wanted to do something but can't, especially in publishing a book?
I'm not going to say that you can't.
Yeah, it's taking a long time.
Yeah, I think the first thing that you need to do is set a timeline, right? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. How much time do you need based on the schedule that you have How much time do you need in order to get the project finished? And then the other thing you need to know is who's in your community that can support you in getting the book published. So, you know what? I'm going to give you, I'm going to find out what my Facebook is.
Oh,
But I just taught a course on Facebook Live a couple of days ago. And I was providing, if you just look me up, Julie Christiansen on Facebook, you should be able to find me. It's got my face on it. It just looks like that. But yeah, I taught this course, the 5 essential things, the 5 essential keys that you need in order to get your writing job done. And the first one is you need to have clarity. You need to know what's your message, what's your mission, what's your vision, who's your audience, where will you find that audience, and how do you want to communicate your message to that audience. The second thing that you need is, and I'm going to get the order wrong, but you do need to have community.
Yeah.
You need to have, you need to have a good editor. You need to have a book designer, someone who's going to design your cover for you. You need to have someone who, or people who will talk up your book for you in social media, right? That will help you get the buzz out there. So you need to have connections with a book community. So what I love about Instagram is that they have this, the Bookstagram community is wonderful. Just search the hashtag Bookstagram or Bookstagrammers. And you're going to find a community of people who love to read. They're voracious readers like I am. You're going to find other authors. You're going to find some A-list authors that are out there. And they're all communicating and helping each other. So, like since I've joined the Bookstagram community, and I only joined in August of last year, since I've joined the Bookstagram community, I've already gotten up to almost 1,000 followers. And I've met some amazing authors who we trade support, so they've got a book coming out and they say, will you be an ARC reader for me? So an ARC is an advanced reader copy. Will you read this ARC for me and post reviews on Amazon and Goodreads? And I'm like, sure, I'll do that. I mean, I can't afford my own book habit. If I'm reading 5 to 7 books a week, do you know how much money that costs? So I'm just kind of like, okay, if people are going to give me free books in exchange for a review, I will absolutely do that for them, because I only take one night to read a book. So I'm going to read the book and I'm going to post the review tomorrow. You know what I mean?
It.
And so then when I'm getting ready to release a new book, I'll reach out to those authors and say, hey, would you be an ARC reader for me? And post your reviews, post it on my Instagram, post it on Goodreads, post it on Amazon. And so we're supporting each other. It's not a competitive environment. It's very collaborative and it's supportive. And we need that. We need to hear from other authors and from readers that we're doing a good job, right? And so you need that community. And I think the most important thing is you need to be consistent and you need to be committed, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to make writing your job. And although I said that writing for me isn't work, I look at it like it's a job. So, I'll just pull this down. So, I have a publication schedule that I keep on my wall in my office so that I know where I need to be in terms of, what's up. So like Leadership Aim, that's coming out in March. Michelle Bush's book is coming out in March. Dalton Virtual is going to be finished at the end of the month. And then as soon as those things are finished, I'm starting a new book.
Yeah.
Right. And while I'm starting that new book, I have another project that's already completed that I'm just waiting for the printer to get back to me so that I can start marketing it. And it's just, I'm constantly working on those things, right? Like every 3 months, every 2 months, I'm finishing a project and moving on to something else. And so, like this is the longest, I think, since July. This is the longest I've gone without writing something that's my own content. I think since December, when I finished my last book. I haven't started on the new book yet, and I'm literally like biting my fingernails off. Like I want to get ready to start on it until I have some headspace free, right? But yeah, for me, I'm that passionate about it, but at the same time, I need to have the schedule laid out so that I know, okay, by the end of 2021, I will have published 1, 2, 3, 4 books.
Just like any other business, you have to have a goal,
Yes.
and it has to have a timeline.
Yeah. Yeah. So you need to put those things in place. And then you just got to say, you know what? And I learned this. I didn't just make this up. I learned this from another author when I read her biography. And she said, every morning I get up, I do my morning routine. I send my kids off to school. I sit down and I write until lunchtime. And then I take a break and I have my lunch. And then I go back to the desk and I write. Writing is my job. That's how I make my money. It's my job. I write until it's supper time. Then I close my computer. I make supper. I hang out with the kids. I spend time, right? I do family time. I do all that stuff. And then the next day I get up in the morning. I do my morning routine and I sit down and I write. And I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to carve out time in my schedule so that I can always be writing.
Yeah, 1 or 2 hours a day for me is doable. But for somebody that's as busy as you, I was wondering how you're doing it.
No, it's just, it's not even negotiable now.
How many hours do you sleep?
Oh, I sleep. Trust me, I sleep. If I could get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, I would have 2 extra hours to get work done. But I usually get up about between 7:30 and 8 o'clock in the morning. I get up and I'm in bed usually like it's 9:43. So typically by 10 o'clock, I'm in bed and I'm reading, and I'll read for an hour or two and then I'll go to sleep. But yeah, I mean, my days are long, but they're also, they're full of variety and
Yeah.
lots of fun. So,
Wow. Do you love coffee? I have to ask because when I'm writing, I see writing as my way of getting out of the world. It's like it's bringing me somewhere to my safe place. And I have to have my coffee with me when I'm writing. I mean, if you don't love coffee, what do you bring when you are writing?
I have about 1 cup of coffee per day, but I'm a tea drinker. I drink a lot of tea. I love anything with peppermint, honey, lemon, ginger. I'm all over that. So I will probably consume about 3 cups of tea a day. And then, of course, loads and loads of water.
Water.
I hydrate a lot. If I drink too much coffee, nobody can handle me.
Oh no. I only drink 1 or 2 cups. 1 cup is the regular one, but if there's a lot of work that needs to be done, it has to be 2. Just so I can get my focus, or else I will just be watching, forensic documentary the whole day. By the way, can we go back to the forensic psychology? Sure. You said you were doing it from Monday to Wednesday. So what's a typical day like from Monday to Wednesday during your practice?
In my practice, a typical day, I don't know if there is a typical day. Every day is so different. Right now, everything is virtual. So we're using, PHIPAA approved encrypted video software that we can meet with clients face to face, like we're doing right now. I could start out the day with a woman in her 60s who has suffered childhood trauma, adult trauma, multiple losses, and a car accident. So, complex PTSD, working with that for an hour. And then I might follow that up with someone in their 20s who's been in a car accident and is struggling with chronic pain. And then I might be followed up with a teenage girl who suffers from agoraphobia.
Sorry, what is that?
Oh, sorry, agoraphobia, the fear of going outside, fear of being in public spaces.
Oh,
And so just really confined to their home, which is fine during COVID, but what are you going to do when COVID's over and you have to go back to school, right? And then I might have a 12-year-old boy who's refusing to go to school because he has encopresis, which is an anxiety disorder characterized by the inability or the unwillingness to use the toilet.
oh my gosh.
So it's just, things. And then I might have a correctional officer who was working in a prison system and had a traumatic experience and is now off on workplace, on workplace injury leave. And then there's the police officer who's retraining because he can't go back to policing because of PTSD, or, it might be a military officer or a victim of crime whose parent killed the other parent. And now she's trying to come to terms with the loss of a parent. And then the other one is in jail awaiting trial. And then it might be just someone who is trying to get through the immigration process and needs a psychological evaluation so that they can prove that if they go back to their own country, that they would be unsafe or that it would be unhealthy for them, for their mental health, right? There's something different every day.
Oh, and how many clients are you talking on a typical day?
I've heard of some therapists who are seeing, up to 10 clients a day, and I would never do that. I think that's an absolute recipe for burnout. My goal is to see 5 clients a day. Sometimes that becomes 6 or 7 just because of scheduling. But then the following day, I'm probably only going to see 3. So it works out. My goal right now, working 3 days a week, is to have 15 clients a week. And so that's where I'm trying to keep it, just again, because of work-life balance, right? I have a lot going on. I'm very busy. And I've already burned out of mental health work twice in my career. I'm 52. I told you I'd tell you how old I am. I'm 52. I've been doing this for over 30 years. For about 32 years, I've been in this industry. And I've burned out, like flamed out, and had to leave the industry completely, do something different, and then come back to it. So I know enough now that I can't work and do 27 hours or 30 hours in 4 days of client work and then still be able to sleep at night. Like I can't.
Especially, with different stories of people, different traumas, you get to bring that when you sleep. How do you manage to get that out of your system, flush it out at the end of the day, and start
I write.
anew?
See, that's why I write. Yeah, that's why I write, because writing helps me to process all of that information and to do it in a way that that has value for other people without betraying any confidences or anything.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So you work as a psychotherapist, and because you're burned out on a daily basis, you write and you still earn money out of that. I like it. And then if you're not writing, you're publishing other people's, or you're helping publish other people's books as an author. And then because public speaking, I know it's not, what you do every day. So sometimes there are gigs or there are invites, sometimes there aren't. So yeah, but how are you on a weekend? You said earlier that you were writing the whole weekend, but you still have the time to bake, spend time with your husband. I'm not sure if you have kids, but is the weekend still that productive, or how are you as a mom and a wife?
Right now, the weekend is, the weekends are busy because I have projects that need to be finished. But typically, a Saturday morning really hasn't changed that much. Like Saturday mornings are for market runs and drives in the country and, going out to that bakery that we like that's half an hour away. And so every other Saturday we do that. We'll get up and we'll drive to the market and we'll, go do our thing. And then usually come back home and, I'll do some housework and putter and bake or, whatever it is that I want to do. And then sometime usually around early afternoon, 1:00, 2:00 in the afternoon, I'll just disappear into the office for a couple of hours. My husband will be watching hockey and I'll just go do what I need to do. And so I can plug away and get a couple of hours work done on a Saturday afternoon, take a break for supper. And if he wants to keep watching hockey, then I'll get out my notebook and I'll write a chapter. We can sit together. I don't notice hockey when I'm writing. So I can sit anywhere and write. It doesn't need to be quiet. So he can go ahead and watch his game and I will, I can crank out a chapter by hand while he's doing that. And then when he's done with his game and I'm done with my chapter, we'll pop a movie on or we'll play a game or we'll do whatever. We've worked out a good system so that we can still get quality time together. And I think that's one of the key things is that, even if I only get 10 minutes with my husband, I want it to be 10 quality minutes.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to be present in the moment when I'm with him. And so when he's engrossed in hockey and I'm engrossed in my book, we're with each other, but we're not with each other, So then when he's done doing what he's doing and I'm done what I'm doing, when we sort of agree, we're going to do something together, then we're present with each other for that thing, so we're not really losing much. And then Sundays I go to, again, it's COVID. So I participate on the music team in my church. And so if it's my turn to go in and to play the music, we do the live broadcast on Facebook. So that's a couple of hours on a Sunday morning. I come home, I hang out with my husband. Maybe I go out with a girlfriend for lunch or something. And then again, I've got Sunday afternoon. What am I going to do? I'm probably going to write.
Wow. Very
right. So, yeah. So again, it's, if we decide we want to go hiking and we don't want to be in the house, then we'll go hiking. But hey, hiking is only a couple of hours. And then once I get home, I'm probably going to write.
Oh. We can't hike here anytime we want because we're in the city. If we wanted to hike, we have to drive minimum of 2 hours or more. So that's something that we really can't do on a weekly basis. But I like your weekend because even though you spend time with your family, you still find time. I feel like it's for yourself. It
is. It's my time. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. It's your me time. Yes, that's right. And for an entrepreneur, multifaceted entrepreneur like you really need that, not just on a weekend, but on a daily basis. Yes. Do you have some advice for other mothers or aspiring entrepreneurs out there who wanted to start something but can't finish it? And I'll take your advice for the book writing, though.
Yeah, you know what? I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. I have always, up until recently, I've always worked a job somewhere else. Up until 2017, I always had another job, but I was always building my business. And I think at the end of the day, if I could go back and do anything differently, I would first have found a way to build the confidence to match my passion. Because I've always had a lot of passion, but I didn't have the self-confidence. I didn't believe that I was capable. When I would talk to people and they would say, what's the earning potential of your business? And I would calculate the math and I'd go, I think it's this. And they go, yeah, that's totally doable. And then I would get scared and I would think, oh, there's no way I could possibly be that successful. And so I would sabotage myself. So, and we moms, we feel guilty about everything.
Yeah.
Right? You send your kids to school during COVID, you feel guilty. You keep your kids home from school during COVID. Yeah. You let someone come over for a play date, you feel guilty. You tell the kids they can't play with anybody, you feel guilty. We feel guilty for everything. And so I think that guilt really, it colors the way that we see ourselves and our capabilities. And, if I make a lot of money, I'm going to feel guilty. If I don't make enough money, I'm going to feel guilty. Like mom guilt knows no boundaries, you know? So I think if I would give any piece of advice, I would say own your passion and own your talent. I know that you participated in the New World, New You challenge, and I did as
Yeah.
well. And that was one of the things that was really, I'm not going to say life-changing because it's been a process over the last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
But it really sort of brought it home for me that now is the time for me to say, I'm a talented person. And to be okay with saying that, to not sort of downplay it when people go, oh, you're really multifaceted, to go, well, not really. No, actually, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I'm not being snooty and I'm not
Yeah.
being proud. I'm just stating the fact. I have a multifaceted business and I have a variety of talents and I'm passionate about all of those talents. And I don't think I should have to compromise that and live small just so that I can feel okay about being mediocre. Like why can't we be excellent?
I love that.
Right? Why
Mhm.
can't we be good at what we do? Why can't we be proud of that? Why can't we change the world one person at a time? Why can't we do that? So I think, if you have a dream, if you have something you're passionate about, if you've identified what your purpose is, don't let fear be the thing that makes you stop. Right? Don't let that be the thing. Don't let lack of confidence, don't let guilt, don't let your concerns about what other people think. Because at the end of the day, you're the only person who gets to walk in your shoes. You're the only person who gets to live your life. And nobody else is showing up to pay your bills,
Oh, yeah. I hope
right?
there is. But
It
yeah.
would be lovely if there were, but the
Yeah.
reality is, that if you have found something that you're truly passionate about and you can monetize it to bring in an income for you and your family, who is the guy down the street to say you shouldn't do that? He's not going to come and pay your mortgage, right? So just own your stuff, own it, and just, walk proud in whatever it is that you feel that you've been put on the earth to do. Because again, like only you can um, walk that journey. That's why you're here, right? Nobody else is going to walk that journey for you. It has to be you.
Very beautiful. Thank you so much. I really feel that that message is going to empower a lot of people out there, especially women, especially mothers, because we mothers tend to juggle a lot at the same time. We're a mom. I'm homeschooling my child,
Good
and
for
I am an
you.
entrepreneur at the same time. Yes, that's why when COVID hit, we don't have a transition because I was working from home since 2013 anyway, and my husband also works from home. So we were blessed to be in a situation wherein we don't have to transition, or adjust too much. But for other people who are doing a lot of, transitions, a lot of adjustments, and still doing business at the same time, it could be hard for them. They could have a lot of excuses, but let's not make those excuses, let's not make those distractions a reason why we should not start our own business, why we should not follow on our dreams, why we should not become the best version of ourselves. Because, as you said, only us can walk on our shoes. Nobody else can do this. Even if our mom would like to help us out, no.
Can't. Yeah.
Time you really come that you have to stand up for yourself and own your skill, own your talent, own your passion. And yes, you can make money out of it. I can't say you can't, because other people are always saying, no, my passion is into, let's say, crocheting. I can't make money out of it. Or my passion is into painting. I'm not Picasso or,
No.
Michelangelo.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. I saw a video about a group of Italian women, grandmas, like old ladies, who have a YouTube channel that is making money because they get together once a week and they teach people how to make authentic Italian pasta from scratch.
Oh,
And that channel is making money. There's another channel where someone is using crochet. They're teaching crochet classes and making money on YouTube. It's doable. I mean, one of the things we have to learn how to do in this economy is pivot. You have to be fast, right? And that's what I've always said. My husband and I have had these discussions many times, and he said, what happens if this happens or that happens? And I'm like, okay, so you look at these big corporations, they're big, they're bulky, they're management heavy. They have to have loads of meetings before they make a decision about making a shift. When COVID happened, I was like, I'm small and I'm agile. That means I can make changes on the fly. I don't need to ask anybody's permission because I own the company,
Yeah.
And so it was easy to switch from on stage events to virtual. Thank you to Zoom. And
Yes.
I had started I had gotten my book coaching program ready to launch prior to COVID becoming an issue. So it launched right when COVID hit, and it was perfect timing because people were home and they were bored, and now they saw an opportunity to take a class so that they could maybe get their book written while they were home. And so just seeing the opportunities and being creative in how you can come up with solutions to make those opportunities a reality, right? Like, it's all part of the process.
That's right. Wow. Amazing. I would love to talk to you about stuff, entrepreneurship and everything, but we have to keep the podcast down at 1 hour, more or less. But I hope next time we can do it again. And please invite them to your book. Tell us about it and where can they see you. You can promote your social media, your websites. I know you have a lot. So this is your time to tell them about it.
All right. So where people can find me, they can definitely find me on social media, but you can find me at my website, www.leverageu.ca. So that is leverage, the word, followed by the letter U. It's all one word. Leverageu.ca is where they can find out about everything I'm doing except for this. And this is located at angersolution.com, singular, angersolution.com. And then my Write Your Book coaching program, you'll find out about it if you go to my website. But if you want to register, then you can find it on Eventbrite. So if you go to Eventbrite and just search for Write Your Book coaching, it starts February 27th and it runs for 5 weeks in a row. So every Saturday for 90 minutes, I will teach a live class for 5 weeks. And then each participant will get an hour of individual coaching from me as well. They're going to get all their course materials. They're going to get a copy of my ebook that teaches them how they can set up a system to write their own book in 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, but it's set up as a 30-day project. I'm going to teach them about social media marketing. I'm going to teach them about e-publishing platforms. I'm going to teach them about self-publishing in print, cover design. I've got some partners who have joined with me, my print company that does all the printing and binding for my books. She did an hour with me on cover design and the print process. I had a colleague of mine who's a social media marketer came on and gave us a great tutorial about how to set up social media accounts, what kinds of hashtags we should use, all that sort of thing for marketing. I have learned more about e-publishing since I started teaching this course. And so I've also done a couple of additional training programs as well. All of that is loaded up on a Facebook group. Once you join the group, you're a member for life. You can come back and you can watch the videos as often as you want. And all of that is only $250 Canadian.
Wow. Amazing.
So, it's almost $3,000 worth of content. I'm literally giving it away because of COVID. And so if you really want to get published, I would say come join us. It's going to be fun times.
Yes. And how about the book? Please tell them the book.
Okay. So if people are looking to purchase my books as well, not all of my books, but some of them are on Amazon, Google Books, Apple Books, Kobo, Barnes and Noble, Scribd. There's quite a few, Baker and Taylor. And then you can also purchase them through my website. So if you want to go directly to my website, to leverageyou.ca, you can visit the bookstore there and you can shop all the books. That includes all my nonfiction titles, as well as we started publishing a fiction author. This year we opened up a new imprint and started publishing a fiction author. She's published 3 books, and those are also available for sale through our website. So you can check it out and see what all we've got to offer, but there's lots there.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much, Julie. And I really hope that we can, do it again, maybe after a year or two. And I feel so honored that you said yes to record this podcast with me today. And I really thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for allowing me to take a dip into your life and into your business and into that amazing passion and purposeful, multifaceted business that you have.
It's been my honor. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a real pleasure getting to know you and chatting with you. And I definitely hope we can do this again.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for all our listeners and all our viewers in the video version of the Passion and Purpose podcast. Please join us once again next week, Thursday, of course, for another inspiring adventure. Thank you for listening to the Passion and Purpose podcast. Join us next week for another inspiring adventures.